The good thing is they won. The bad thing, okay, Ring Culture, welcome back to Ring Culture, where we play no games, we just spit game about the game we love. Before we get into this video, go over to my reaction page, the Nuclear Reactor, and check out my sports reactions. Y'all will love it over there. But back over here, Ring Culture, make sure y'all like and comment down below. That's how y'all push me into the algorithm, and then I'll go get them with my content, hit them and fit them and sit with them. Subscribe and hit the bell notification so y'all can be notified for every time I upload. Share my videos and hype my channel. So the Eagles won. A dominant performance, 31-0. The offense looked great. The defense looked great. The running game was better than usual. But it's not lost to me they were playing against a 2-11 team, an inferior team. And sometimes you need, it's almost like a boxer who needs a tune-up fight before they go into a bigger fight. Well, sometimes you need those teams to come in that are laden with problems. They're not good, and you mop the floor with them. This should be a confidence builder for the Eagles, but I'm still not sold on them playing against a better opponent. Now, next week they have Washington, but the week after that, they're going to be playing the Bills. That's going to be a huge test. Hurts only passed for 175, but he did pass for 3 touchdowns. Now, that is a great game compared to what he did last week. He had 5 turnovers last week. He looked absolutely awful last week. So, in that sense, the Eagles, to me, handle business. Brandon Graham, just freshly out of retirement a few weeks ago, he added 2 sacks. Secondary was tough. You know, our secondary, the only part of our secondary that was really in question was Makuba going down. How would his backup fare? I don't even know who's starting in his place. It's not Ringo. It's not Ringo. I forget the guy. And the other corner, opposite Quinyanamo Bay, Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson looked pretty good. I don't know how sold they are on Adoree Jackson yet, but he held his own today. But again, we're talking about a 2-11 team, so I'm glad they won. I'm glad they dominated. They should have dominated this team. Now, I mean, by all accounts, it probably should have been worse. But the starters were set down in the fourth quarter, so they probably could have ran the score up more. So there are positives to come out of this. The way Hurts played last week was just a game where every player is going to have that game in their career that is awful. Maybe they're going to have 4 or 5 of those games that are just putrid. And last week just happened to be one of Hurts, and it came at a time when the Eagles were on a losing streak, and they lost their 3rd game in a row. Even though I felt like they should have won, they shouldn't have lost 3 in a row. They should have won at least one of those games. But Saquon Barkley in the run game, it doesn't look good to me. Their running game is so-so. He had a few good carries. They put up a stat that he had, I think this year he only had 1 20-yard touchdown run when he had 10 last year, something like that. It was a stat they put on the board. So there's a clear difference between their running game this year and last year. But the thing that puzzles me so much is, even though they had a clear difference between their running game from this year and last year, it seemed like it will open the pass up a lot more than what it is if teams are selling out to try to stop the run. I don't know. The Eagles are an anomaly to me this year. And even after this win, I'm still concerned about them heading into the playoffs. This is just one game, but it's a game against an opponent that they should have beat. They should have beat the Raiders. The Raiders are an awful, awful football team. The real test is going to come up. Well, first of all, they have the NFC East test next week with the Washington Commanders, and that's probably going to be a pretty tough game because you usually, not always, but you usually get tough division rival games because of the familiarity that the two teams have with each other from playing each other twice a year. But this is going to be their first meeting this year coming up, and then they're going to play them 2 weeks later. The big test is going to come between those 2 weeks, depending on what the Bills and Eagles playoff positioning looks like, whether the game is going to be needed for both of the teams. It's probably going to be almost a playoff atmosphere. Now, we already know that the Eagles are most likely going to win the NFC East. So I don't know what the circumstances are going to look like, especially if they win against the Commanders next week. The Eagles might be. I don't feel like they should sit their players the second to last week of the season. So the Eagles might still be primed to have all their starters in the game in 2 weeks, but maybe if they are in a locked-in position in the playoffs, week 17, they might sit down and starters to rest them for the playoff push. The Eagles, I'm hoping that they get a first round bye, make their push to go to the Super Bowl a little bit easier, and they can heal up a little bit. All the players, because everyone's banged up at this point of the season. But I just wanted to say that this is a needed win. They needed to dominate like this to get that feeling back from the way that they played last year. They needed this because even last week the defense got shredded. Was it last week or the week before where they gave up like 250 yards on the ground and two running backs had over 100 yards with 13 carries and 14 carries respectively? I mean, the defense was getting shredded. But and some of it was because the offense could not stay on the field, that you leave your defense on the field for long, extended periods. So today was an all-out dominant day. They looked like the team of last year minus the running game. So nothing bad to say about the game today. I'm just worried that this might be fool's gold playing against a really bad team. Y'all let me know what y'all think down below. Do y'all think the Eagles turned the corner in this game, or should we still worry about this team going forward? And always remember, we are ring culture, because the whole point of culture is to win rings. With culture, I love y'all. Peace.